I'm here to tell you the Big 12 likely made a lot of money this week. And it's a story that's being underreported in large part because of what's happening with Texas Tech, but also it's not an immediate payoff with the money. Okay. So let me explain here. We've long talked on the channel about how Brett Yormark wants to decouple basketball rights, right? He wants to split up the Big 12's TV deal next time around. In an ideal world, you've got one deal for football, one deal for basketball. It's a way to maximize value for basketball, potentially make more money by splintering those off. That's the general idea. And I think Brett Yormark may wind up being a trendsetter on that. A lot of ideas that you see start in the Big 12. I mean, the Big 12 is the first to be reported looking at private equity. Then you start seeing the Big 10 is, and the SEC is talking to Goldman Sachs. And a lot of times when Brett Yormark comes up with a good idea, others are going to steal it. This may be another one of those. And keep an eye on the Big 10 deal, by the way, which will come up a year before the Big 12's. Will they try to do something with their basketball package, specifically there, a la decoupling in the Big 12? Also, as I mentioned just a second ago, keep your eye on the next realignment move for the SEC. Like they're looking around like, hey, we've now got a great basketball league. Maybe Brett Yormark knows what he's talking about with trying to emphasize basketball as much as possible. So keep your eye on what the SEC may do there beyond just North Carolina. And if you're piecing everything together, if you've been watching Brett Yormark's moves and keeping track of that pretty closely, you are pretty well aware that like there have been many moves over the last couple of years where he's clearly been angling toward beefing up the basketball product. So you'd be looking at this saying, all right, everybody says he ideally would really like to decouple football and basketball rights, use that as a tactic to make more money. Well, of course, then he's going to be pushing hard for a school like Gonzaga, which happened for a little while. Didn't work out, but definitely happened for a little while. Didn't land Gonzaga. Then pushed hard for UConn. And that was, I remember almost a year ago to this day, because my birthday is coming up, and it was on my birthday last year when the UConn story broke again, that Brett Yormark was really pushing for trying to add UConn to the Big 12. He has been trying to open up hoops as much as he possibly can. But it's not just adding new teams. If you want to beef up what your next TV deal may look like in basketball, obviously getting better as a conference is a part of it, but you can be savvy in the way you attack the TV deal. It doesn't even have to be all on the court. You can utilize your personal skill set, which I think Yormark has proven to be excellent at this, as evidenced by Exhibit A, which is jumping the line, getting in front of the Pac-12 on that last football basketball TV deal that effectively killed the Pac-12, eventually led to the Four Corners coming here. That was a home run for Brett Yormark. That was expert level work from him to understand the moment and then to have the negotiating ability to go make it happen. I trust Brett Yormark a lot when it comes to TV deals, and I think he continues to show a really excellent expertise and an excellent touch when it comes to how exactly to maneuver this. All right. So how do you maximize the money when you are trying to sell something? You do it with multiple bidders, right? You need people bidding against each other. You need multiple suitors out there to try and get the absolute best deal. When homes were selling like crazy a couple of years ago, depending on where you're at, may have slowed down a little bit now, but pandemic and just out of the pandemic, when homes are going like crazy, you're hearing about homes going, 40K, 50K, 100K over asking, depending on what price range you're in. They're all going way over because you had so many bidders. Like there are multiple bidders there. Everybody's driving the price up. Pretty simple supply and demand. Well, if you've got multiple bidders going after the basketball TV rights, better chance that your deal is going to wind up being worth more money. And so now what Brett Yormark has, I think, very expertly done is over the last, it was about a year ago that we heard the news about the CBS deal where CBS was taking some of the basketball inventory. This year, not only did you see games on CBS, but CBS Sports Network. Now we get NBC. And that was the headline this week, was that the Big 12 will now have 20 men's basketball games on Peacock this season. That gets NBC involved. And I know when people hear that, when the average Big 12 fan hears that, you're going to be like, well, that sucks, John. I don't want to have to buy another streaming service to watch Big 12 basketball. I'm already having to really dig deep to have ESPN Plus and watch a bunch of Big 12 hoops there. You just said CBS Sports Network. CBS Sports Network is not something if you have YouTube TV like I do, not a sponsor could be, I would definitely recommend. You did get CBS Sports Network, but if you don't, that could be another thing that you're having to reach for. And it's like, man, how many things am I going to have to buy just to watch Big 12 basketball? I get it. Okay. Believe me, I do get it. But I think short-term sacrifice for something that's going to be much better long-term, because now Brett Yormark has effectively engaged Fox, ESPN, NBC, CBS, and Turner, like TNT. They're all going to be airing Big 12 basketball games. Like, they all have Big 12 inventory. That is excellent news. That is excellent news. That is how you strike up a bidding war or just get as many possible entities involved in trying to sell your basketball product. Because not only is it just getting their feet wet, it's like introducing them to Big 12 basketball. They'll get to see it. They'll get to go to different arenas. They'll get to see how passionate the fans are, how great of a product it can be in the Big 12. But you're also just starting a working relationship with them. Like, if you were going to try and just pitch the league in a couple of years when you're looking at decoupling, you'd be starting from much more like ground zero with that relationship than you would be if you're already having a working relationship here with getting your basketball product out across these networks. So I think it's the way you need to do it. I think if your problem is, and I'm seeing some of the comments from everybody in the chat, like, I get it. If your frustration is with, hey, I don't want Peacock, I don't want to do another streaming service, like, your frustration is just, like, don't hate the player, hate the game. Brett Yormark here is the player. He is not the game. The game is, this is where everybody went and where the industry went when everyone cut the cable, like 10, 15 years ago, however the hell long that's been. This is where it went. We have a splintered media environment with that now, and everybody, this is like a symptom of the problem. Brett Yormark is not the problem there. He's doing the absolute best business move, making the absolute best business move that he can under the current environment. I would also just point out that I know it's like, no Peacock, I don't want Peacock. The games on Peacock should look a lot better. There's a lot of complaining about ESPN Plus, sometimes rightfully so. And a part of that is, like, every game is basically being produced on site by the school that they're at. So there's not this like uniform standard of quality that you will get on Peacock because NBC is producing every game. So I do just want to mention that if you're somebody who has complained about ESPN Plus, Peacock will probably be a much better viewing experience for you. Okay. I'm seeing, so Bracket Cat says it's also a brilliant way to see which networks actually do the best job of presenting games and promoting the Big 12, hint, not ESPN. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting too. Just now realizing I forgot to put there we go. That is interesting too. I think that's a good comment. I appreciate that. You hope that you have that kind of choice there. Like, maybe you'll have multiple suitors and you can pick the one that you think would be the best partner in terms of what they present. Frankly, I just don't know that ESPN does a great job of presenting much of anything these days, because I'm very scared about this NFL deal and the fact that Red Zone might be there. Even though we may get college football Red Zone, I don't trust ESPN really with either one of those to not screw it up and make it worse and throwing like Stephen A. or Pat McAfee at it. I digress. So maybe it does turn into an NBC or a CBS or Turner. But I just look at this like pretty low risk, pretty low cost, other than some annoyance from the fans, which, again, I knew that I would see some here. Pretty low risk, pretty low cost, and a high reward. Opening up some business relationships with other networks, which can lead to more money in the future, and allowing them to see up close and personal what a good product you have with Big 12 basketball. So I know nobody wants to hear, especially how expensive everything is getting these days. Like, short-term pain here with having to buy Peacock for some long-term gain. But I do think it's the move Brett Yormark had to make if he was going to be the most shrewd businessman that he possibly can be here. And that's what you want, man. That is what you want.